How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to the House of Fata Morgana. And, well, I've been calling the last episode of part 2 for a while now, but we might actually be getting there. Last episode has some pretty ridiculous turnaround. Turned out we already found out what happened to Paulina a while ago. Didn't realize it because she looked like a beast, but yeah, that was just great. So, we discovered who the beastie was. Turns out it was the merchant. I kind of was right. I mean, I had no reason to really claim it. I just felt like we were learning so much about those two that I was like, it would just be silly if there was literally nothing else left of him. And so, wasn't terribly surprised? No. What I was surprised about was the fact that the beastie who invaded the mansion that he massacred in the middle of the hallway was actually Paulina. That really sucked. And I was expressing such last time, and oh, the lovely comments were hinting at, oh, just you wait, it gets even better. So I was like, yay, this is gonna be fun. So we have our merchant bestia here, Yukimasa, who based on like everything we've heard, I guess I kind of called, the one thing I am proud of calling was the idea that he was working with a shipping company, most likely the Dutch companies, that was interacting in trade routes between Japan and the West. And that we saw that breakdown of that relationship where he stopped being allowed back on the island when he signed on, and they slowly started blocking off trade in general, and then eventually got closed off, or at least was pending to. I think he ended up going shipwrecked. What we didn't realize is the fact that he actually is a beast. He kind of got a taste for bloodshed on his last journey, and yeah, so apparently he took to it like a fish to water, and so here we are. He was kind of a crap dude beforehand, and then when pushed to the edge of insanity, he latched onto the violent side of himself, and that's why he's so terrible. So, let's see what happens. I wonder if we're going to see the return of Javi, maybe at the head of a little like mob army to come and take care of the beast. So, that's my final prediction for this chapter. I think Javi is finally going to find his courage. He's going to end up rallying the people and bringing them out with like torches and pitchforks to slay him. And I worry that they're going to take her out in the process. So, alright, let's just jump in and see what happens. I used to do the beast with a big, low, deep, crazy voice, but now that we know who he is, I've averted him to kind of a falsetto version of the voice I gave Merchant in the memories. So, if for some reason you missed that change, that's what's going on. Hey. Is there anything you would like? Anything I would like? I'm considering visiting the village. I see. You're going to the village. I thought I might be able to get some medicine. I would prefer to bring a doctor here, but no one would come if they learned you were in this mansion. So, he was planning to put on a disguise to enter the village as a person. The white-haired girl smiled when she heard his idea. She had, after all, always wanted him to think of himself as human. However, because she was so pure-hearted, she did not comprehend the full extent of the slaughter he had confessed to committing. Oh, really? Eamon's getting medicine by killing the doctor? The revenge he had taken out on those who chased him around. How sinister his crackling and furious his reaping. She did not grasp just how serious it was. She had faith that Bestia had kindness in his heart. If you cannot get any medicine, then please buy me some oranges. Please? Oranges? This is a land blessed by the sun. You should be able to find some wonderful fresh oranges. Will that make you feel better? Yes, it should. Okay. Bestia's mind was made up. He wouldn't don the skin of a human for her. He would don the skin of a human for her, to protect the peace he had. He would return to the place that had left him with many painful memories. It was, to him, the source of his fear. Wherever he let his guard down, their shouts would play back in his mind. Bestia! 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 Hideous beast. Though he had physically conquered the people who lived there, Bestia's memories of the village still haunted him. But her health meant more to him than any of that. He was willing to cast aside his fear If it meant the white-haired girl would recover. The girl still in her bed, he made his way out of the mansion. Oh no. He crossed the overgrown forest, pushing forward one step at a time, all the while trying to brush aside his apprehension, until he arrived at the village. Oh man. This is where they called me a beast. Where I was almost killed. And where I killed them. I look different than I did then. I'm dressed differently too, but can I play the part? Can I act a convincing enough human? I have no choice. There are no other villages. I can't let her die. Alright, man. Let's see how this goes. Excuse me? Could you answer a question for me? A village man is looking at me. Only for a moment. But for me, that moment is torturously long. A faint look of panic crosses his face, perhaps in fear of my appearance. He's staring at me. Will he point his finger and call me a beast? Will the other villagers come to kill me? However... I haven't seen you around here before. He didn't recognize me. Yes, I come from a faraway land. I am unfamiliar with this area, so... You're dressed like a nobleman. On a secret trip or something? Something like that. You look really pale, though. Searching for a doctor? Yes, but not for me. My companion's come down with a fever. Sorry to hear it. Well, I'd love to introduce you, but he's out right now. And he won't be back for a few days. I see. And where might I be able to buy fruit? There's a shop around the corner. Thank you very much. Don't mention it. Do take care, traveler. It's dangerous out there. That was interesting. I wonder why he initially... Was it just his foreign appearance that was causing him fear? I'm starting to attract attention. But not the same kind as before. They don't look at me with revulsion, hatred, or furious indignation. They're simply curious. The village feels different than last time. Could it have changed this drastically? Or is it because I really did look like a beast then? And now I look like a human? I don't know. Excuse me. Me? Yes? I would like to buy some fruit. Some oranges? Oranges? Alrighty, just a sec. Just the fruit vendor doesn't recognize me as a beast either. Any other year there'd be a lot plumper than this. But this year we had the end of the war and the whole mess with the beast, and it's just been crazy. If you'd like, how about you come back in a few years and try oranges again? They'll be several times better, I assure you. I'll keep that in mind. You bet. That'll be... I'm sorry, I don't have any local currency. Would this suffice? What? How? No good, I take it? No, on the contrary. It's hardly fair for you trading a jewel for a few oranges. That's all I have to offer. I hope you can exchange it for money. Sure. You nobles are something else. Noble. Aren't you? Though if you wander around dressed too well, you put yourself in danger. You might find yourself stripped bare by a bandit. Perhaps you can catch the attention of the beast. The beast. Everyone mentions the beast. They speak of me. Have you heard the tales? I have not. There's a beast in a den not too far from this village. It's attacked before, and we've been living in fear, never knowing when it might attack again. But that all ends today. Uh-oh. Huh? Oh no, did he pass the hunting party? The men have finally found their spines. They all got together and went out to exterminate it. What? And you'll never guess who's responsible. A kid! A little boy spearheading the attack. Never would have expected a little kid to whip all her lazy, cowardly men into shape. The boys only took the only one who knows who had the beast's dead. Hold on! What about your oranges? Men have banded together, and they're going to kill the beast. Why now? Why when I'm not there? I'm the beast. I'm right here. I'm right where you're trying to hunt. And the only person to match it right now is her. Oh no, she better not. He regretted not asking the fruit vendor how long ago the party set off. Though what good would that knowledge have done him? He had to hurry back regardless. The sun was beginning to set, draping the surroundings in a deep blackness. As if to keep him from returning home, the night wrapped its hands around his head, covering both his eyes. In what direction did he have to head to return to the mansion? Oh no. He stormed through the forest, and eventually the mansion appeared before him, like in a world fading into view after a dream. The bestia was a tempest in the night, blowing through the overgrown towards the house. Please make it in time. I need her. I need the pizza she provides me. Oh no. The last thing I want for her to die. In the blink of an eye, he was through the door, charging down the mansion's halls. He could not sense anyone else inside, though. All he could hear was the whooshing of the wind blowing into the house from somewhere. It seemed a window was open. Where are you? Where have you gone? Answer me! Please answer me! He cried out the girl's name again and again until his throat was sore and his voice was hoarse. But she did not respond. Oh no. He rushed into her bedchamber. Hey, hello? Where are you? Where are you? Answer me! The man swung his head back and forth so hard he thought he might break his own neck. And when he made to look down, he slipped, falling on his tailbone. He felt something slick on his hands, a sensation he would recognize anywhere. The liquid was still warm. No, this cannot be! It can't! I cannot be! Muttering incomprehensibly in fear, he crawled back through the door of their chamber and into the corridor. Like a genuine beast, he followed the trail of slippery fluid on all fours. The trail glimmered like red wine. It stretched down the hall, past the living room, smeared across the floor like it had been wiped down with a mop. Oh no. The man crawled and crawled and crawled until at last he reached the stairs leading down to the cellar. The ruby trail continued. From beyond the door he could hear men's voices. Ah! With a howl, the man stumbled down the stairs, throwing open the wooden door. His first impression was the stench of blood was suffocating. And indeed, he had discovered the white-haired girl. He found himself unable even to scream. Oh my gosh. Her once porcelain skin was no longer even sickly pale. It was now the bloodless color of dirt. She was sprawled haphazardly out on the cellar floor, dried bloodstains around her half-open mouth. And those lips were, naturally, lacking their former rosy sheen. Her body was covered with an array of wounds, but the most prominent was the man's singular sword standing tall in her chest. This is the bestia? He doesn't look the same. It's him. Oh, Javi. He's the same guy. He's the bestia. Several villagers surrounded him in at behest of the young boy. He's gotten himself dressed up all proper and fancy, but the good clothes don't make him a good man. Isn't that right, you bestia? No. You murderer! Why did you kill her? 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 Oh man. Why? You want to know why? Her death was an accident, I'd say. feel bad about what happened, but any woman who would live with a man like you must have been a witch. Does that hurt? Are you hurting right now, you beastia? Then maybe now you understand. You not only stole my parents and friends from me, you ripped the last shard of hope I had from my hands. Do you get it? Do you finally understand how I feel? Now do you know how it feels to have someone you care about take it from you? Paulina, was desperately trying to find you. Why? Why would you kill someone so devoted to you? Do you understand what you've done? I'm asking you a question, you murderer. I see. And now, I have nothing left. What? The man stepped forward, almost perfectly calm. His panic had vanished, as if it were never there. His eyes were disturbingly vacant. Perhaps the sorrow had overpowered him, beating his heart into quiet submission. No, that was not the case. I think he's about to revert. Oh dear. His eyes were empty. A faint smile spread across his lips. The transition was swift, as though a gear had switched in his mind. The boy and the other villagers were frozen in place at the sight. Before long, the man standing before the deceased girl's body. And then he pulled the blade from her chest. I knew it. I knew I really was a beast. And what I wanted was a tether. What are you yammering on about? Didn't you care about that woman? Didn't you choose her over Pauline? Who are you then threw aside and butchered? What is wrong with you? What is she to you? She was my serenity. But she's dead now, and there's nothing I can do about that. Peace, calm, tranquility. The man's behavior was downright eerie, causing the boy to flinch back. This is what you call passing your intimidation check. Friggin' this is gonna get bloody quickly. Believing he had everything taken from him and could not possibly lose anything more was, I imagine, what had allowed him to stand up to the beast, the source of such crippling fear. Yet now, he found himself unable to move. He found himself, in the face of such an incomprehensible creature, paralyzed with fear. And the villagers were similarly dumbstruck. Not even I could understand his behavior. What the heck is wrong with you? How could you laugh at like this? I don't get it. How indeed, I wonder myself. I don't know either. But you know what? It doesn't matter anymore. Because every last one of my anchors has broken off and sunken into the sea. And he's gonna scream, laugh some more, which I'm not gonna do because people be sleeping. Oh my gosh, they are gonna die if they don't stop him quickly. Dang it, get on, kill it! I'll slaughter every last one of you! Yes. Oh, is this him talking? My whole life, I've always wanted to kill. Fetch, man, that face. What was it that afflicted you with such madness? Losing your memory in the shipwreck? The abuse and insult you suffered at the villagers' hands? Or was it your grief in not being able to return to your homeland? No, none of those were the root. You were always like this. You always bore these twisted desires. You held these deep, constant urges to cause others harm. That is your essence. The real you hidden beneath the mask of sincerity. The true beast was your heart. The beast was a convenient skin for you to wear. You wanted to be a brutal, savage murderer. You never really loved the white-haired girl, or the black-haired woman for that matter. You were merely attached to them, fixated on the idea of a world of tranquility. You used this piece to anchor yourself, to prevent you from drifting off into the ocean of your own desires. You yearned to cause pain, while also hungering for the opposite, a calm life. You idolized this idealized life, spent in quite harmony with another, because you knew just how difficult it would be for you to attain. Far more difficult for you to satisfy your cravings, but not impossible. I personally had hoped you would find peace with someone rather than descend into savagery. It may have been only superficial, but it would have been very human. But ultimately, peace slipped through your fingers, and no one was left to suppress your desires. You cannot, after all, hold them back yourself. Bad advice, you can. If you ever have weird things or urges that, like, work them out, please. Don't let yourself just excuse yourself into being your own version of a beast, whatever that could be. I don't know. Some people face addiction. Some people face other less happy or wholesome things, if that's believable. I don't want to talk about it, honestly. So we'll move on. Just, if for some reason you find yourself struggling with urges, I hope you take the chance to get the help you need. I think we all need a little help sometimes, but there are real people like this out there, because there are real murderers out there, and sometimes the hardest thing is recognizing the weaknesses in yourself. What a tragic man. What a hopeless man you are. And did they get him? I'm guessing they must have eventually brought him down. The door to the cellar swung shut. He had fallen to the floor at some point, unable to bear the stench of the blood. Oh, again, this is me. I keep forgetting when we come into this is supposed to be my voice, effectively. The maid stood beside you, her arms wrapped around your shoulders. The maid's voice was chillingly gentle. That was quite horrific, wasn't it? Are you feeling unwell, Master? Oh my, you're shaking, Master. Fear not, I assure you, the beast will not come through that door. I am here for you, and I will continue to hold you for as long as you need to settle your nerves. Oh dear, I feel like you might freeze in my arms. Am I really that cold? I cannot tell my own temperature. You wish to know what happened to Beastie after that? I could open the door once more and show you. But I have no intention of knowingly tossing you back into that den of horrors. He lost the rest of his humanity, becoming wholly beast. But, to tell just a little more of the tale, it is my understanding that the entire village was ravaged shortly thereafter. He was a bewitchingly talented swordsman. Not a single person living in that village could stand up to him. In the woman's memories you saw, he was a gentle man, yes? But even the mildest of men can change. Though, personally, I believe that without an element of monstrousness buried somewhere within, a man cannot become a beast, regardless of what may push him in that direction. Do you follow? Now tell me, Master, have you remembered anything? Oh dear, I was afraid of that. I am a remarkably patient maid. I shall accompany you for as long as you require. So, do please find your memories. Now, let us head to the next door. The mansion is quite large, so hold on to my hand. We will not want to get separated. Interesting. So, summary of the Beast story. He actually got out, it sounds like, which is freaking nuts. And then he pretty much just... Did he just murder the whole town? Possibly. He might have wiped the town off the face of the earth. And if our next memories are in the future of that event, we might see some of the like the ripple effects. Because at first the mansion was lived in, and then it was abandoned, and now the town might be abandoned. But we'll have to see. Well, I mean, it kind of was the ending I thought was coming, more or less. Although it was really sad that they just like outright killed the white-haired girl. Man, she's got it rough, and I have a stinking feeling we're gonna see her again because apparently she's locked into some kind of reincarnation cycle of doom. It's just lovely. But it was a good story. I think between the two, I like that one more than the first one. But we will find out if there's anything more adventurous to come. I'm going to record a little bit more, because otherwise it'll be a really short episode. But we probably aren't going to get too much into the next one. It's probably just going to be like the introductions and such. Just because of the time split. It's unfortunate, really. Normally, I'm pretty lucky at like when I decide to like end my episodes. But I kind of wish last week, even though it was already pretty long, I kind of wish I'd just gone to the end. It would have been a little bit more neatly wrapped up that way. But, oh well. Can't be lucky every time. So, you and the maid traveled down the dimly lit hall, passed by a mirror once again. The light from the candle in the maid's hand was the only thing that reflected in it. The maid herself did not appear. However, just as you were about to avert your eyes, you thought you caught a glimpse of white hair. What? Is she here too? Like, right now? You heard a voice echo in the darkness. And when you turned to face the mirror again, the glass was the color of obsidian, as if it had been painted over. The voice seemed to be coming from beyond the mirror. The maid did not turn back, evidently having not heard anything. You extend your hand, avert your eyes. Interesting. I didn't realize I actually got top choices here. Okay, well... Oh yeah, that's right. Someone was mentioning way in the beginning that I might get bad endings. Alright, so if from what I understand, if I end up getting a bad ending, I'm probably going to like revert to the save and come to this choice again and continue on, whatever that means, you know? Kind of like Steins Gate, like I have a policy where I don't show like all the endings. However, I do ultimately want to show the true ending, if there is such a thing. So, see a glimpse of the white-haired girl, and then the mirror turns to obsidian. Inherently, I'm thinking that's danger, danger, but I'm also super curious, and fortune always favors the bold, right? Right? Because, you know, curiosity's always gotten people, like, taking care of them in these stories so far. Let's do it. Extend her hand. I might have just killed myself. You extend your hand towards the darkness overrunning the mirror. The second your hand brushes against the surface, the tips of your fingers sunk into it. And the next thing you realized, your whole world was sinking into darkness. You could hear a voice. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think I might have died. I am the witch. Well, crap, we got separated. That initially tells me that this is no bueno here. Okay, how on earth am I going to say this name? Gisela? Gisela? I think that's right. I'm guessing it's girl. It's getting foggy. Looks like it might rain. Maybe we should take a little break? You want to keep going? Oh, alright then. The mansion. This deep in the forest? Thank you very much. You must be tired after such a long journey. This is the mansion I'm looking for, yes? You could have said something. Oh well. I should get going, I guess. Does no one live here? But if that's the case, then why was I... Such a big door. Please, open? It's not locked, I guess. Okay. I wonder if the window's open. Darn, not a hint of light. Hello? Is anyone there? Please don't tell me it's actually abandoned. I suppose I can't know without looking around a bit more. What do we have here? Drapes? I see a little light beyond. Oh, wow. Oh, it's so pretty. Looks like an angel. Why would someone cover this up? It's beautiful. With a little more light, it'd be... Please, do not touch the drapes. Or maybe that's the maid. I don't know. Or the windows. Oh, whoa. Michael? Okay, I think it is a guy. Or... I think that's Michael, but white hair. I'm sorry for coming in uninvited. But, I did announce myself. Is this, your mansion? It is. Thank goodness. I was afraid it was deserted. I suspect you would have preferred it if the house were abandoned. Oh no, not at all. I would be scared to death staying in a dark mansion all by myself. I'm sorry. No ill will intended. But I do think I could do with some light. That way you could see where you were walking. And I'm sure the room would look splendid illuminated. Not necessary. I make do perfectly well as things are. How can you see when it's so dark? I have an abundance of candles and oil for lamps. I am not in want of the means of creating light. It is not your place to criticize my lifestyle. If you need light, you are free to leave. Interesting. Look at this dude. If you are in need of money, help yourself to some of the furniture. There is a village not far from here. Trade it for food, and make your way to a larger town. I am no longer able to freely return to the city. I cannot go back there. Please, don't chase me out. I see. And do you ask this of me aware of how people refer to this mansion? They say that a witch lives here. Not merely a witch. A cursed witch. If you remain here, you too shall likely suffer your own destruction. Alright, maybe this is the white-haired girl. I don't know, it's white hair, but like... Is it Michelle then? If it's not Michael. That'd be so annoying if that was like the case. I can't tell the difference. Alright. I wanna know. You're worried for my well-being. Witch or not, my mind's made up. Oh, bumped the microphone. Which will strike you first, I wonder? Regret or the curse? You seem to be doing just fine. It's only a tale. The witch is real. Very much so. It's not a legend nor a fairy tale. The witch. The witch's name was Morgana. Interesting. Is B. Okay, so it was Michelle. Gosh darn it. I read it all wrong. I'm so sorry. Michael, Michelle. I'm guessing the Michael has an extra A in it or something. Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. Well, screw it. I'm uploading it anyway. So I'm sorry. She had a very deep voice, apparently. What was that? Giselle? Oh my. What is the matter, master? Why are you just standing in place? There is nothing there. The maid did not seem to have seen anything. You made to ask her about the scene you just witnessed. Uh-oh. Master, you look as if you've seen a ghost. What is the matter? How about a little rest before we move on? You do not wish to remain here? Still not fond of mirrors? Yes, yes, now let us be off. I too dearly wish for you to return to your old self as soon as possible, master. If you desire to push onward, then I could hardly be happier. Now, follow me. Now, hang on a second. Are we the white-haired girl? That would actually make a lot of sense. Because she keeps returning to the mansion, and she never remembers anything about it, but she always feels like she should, like she's connected to it somehow. So maybe we In the beginning, it felt like we died for some reason, and it reminded me of the Inquisition. And we died, and then we wake up here, maybe in another iteration of the life of the white-haired girl. That would be interesting. It would actually. Oh, actually, I might be onto something here. Don't tell me if I'm right, but I'm really thinking this might be right because the repeating cycles, right? And she talks about how we're the master of the mansion, and how like she would always recognize us, and like maybe we were seeing in the past where initially like the white-haired girl was like someone who just kind of kept returning, but then the maid eventually recognizes her as the true master of the home. That's interesting. Morgana too. What a pretty but also steeped in lore name. You follow the maid's lead, returning to the living room. From there, you climb a set of stairs, your hand sliding through the dust that had settled in the ebony railing. I feel really sad that I messed up that name. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm sure that drove you crazy, but oh well. First impressions are everything, and I don't want to re-record something that stupid just because I just made a stupid mistake. When you stepped out of the side of the mirror, the maid returned to normal. You had been on the verge of remembering something, but you were no longer in a position to be concerned about such things. For the chill in the air within the mansion seemed to have intensified. Standing at one end of the long corridor, you asked the maid, "When was the mansion built?" I would imagine you know more about that than me, master. Yes, I know. You have not yet regained your memories. I was simply teasing you. I have been a servant at this house for many, many years, but the truth is, I do not know everything about it. All I know is that the mansion is cursed, and that it has brought misfortune upon its residents. Since times of old, I can make the conjecture as to when it began, but I believe you should figure it out for yourself, master. It's probably the last story. There is no guarantee my perspective is the correct one. Now, let us proceed. You and the maid travel down the dimly lit corridor. While the layout of the house was the same as in the eras of the flaxen-haired boy and the beast, the bleak, colorless gloom felt incredibly dreary. On the wall partway down the hall hung a painting. The painting, which depicted a beautiful landscape, was oddly entrancing, but you did not have time to appreciate the artwork. Your hand in the maid's, you passed by the painting. Before long, a door came into sight at the end of the hallway. I wonder if that's one of the paintings that the white-haired girl's father made initially. I feel like I've got to sneeze somewhere. This door is what I would like to show you next, master. Listen closely. Do you hear the voices? Lively but rough, energetic but coarse. What lies beyond this door is neither a period of elegance and abundance like the first, nor one of ruin and savagery like the second. Technology and culture had become quite developed. Cameras and photography had been invented. It was a time of great progress and many breakthroughs. So photography and such, that would place it around the 1920s probably. And for that reason, those who lived in it were constantly seeking to try new things. Actually, it could have been earlier. Photography was around like in the late 1800s. But this is also in Europe, and I don't really know much about the late 1800s but in Europe at all. The tale I'm about to tell you is of one man who waged everything on his ambitions. I hope that what you see, master, will stir something in your heart. Now, through the door we go. Please do not let go of my hand. The maid pushed open the door. Colorful balls bounced around the top of the long, dark green table. Oh, a billiard room. One man, dressed in black, standing by the billiards table, turned towards the door. The room was inundated with eye-watering cigar smoke, causing you to squeeze your eyes shut. Interesting. Well, this is going to be a bit of a shift. I'm excited. The third door. $1869. Okay. Way off of my guess. But hey, this is like when the Wild West was the Wild West. Ooh, jazz music. That era was a rat race of innovation and development. I've always been a fan of jazz music. The smoke was so thick you could hardly see more than a few feet ahead of you. I could compare it to the dense morning fog, but that might give the impression of beauty. There was little of that to be found in this haze. Do you see the silhouettes of several men in the smoky room? The one in the middle. The one looking in your direction, master, was the present master of the house. Hello. Interesting. Jakapu? Is that really his name, Jakapu? His name was Jakapu. And although he dressed in such fine attire, I sincerely doubt he understood how splendid the furnishings left in the mansion truly were. I am a faithful servant of the house, and I would not, for the life of me, dare to speak ill of my master. However, this is a time long past. I imagine God would be so kind as to turn a blind eye to a little bit of honesty. I was not terribly fond of my master back then. He had wavy hair the color of oven-dried tea leaves, a piercing gaze, an arrogant smile, and worn a hat that made him look rather haughty. He put his trust only in money, renown, and rank. He loved only the iron and steel that had revolutionized so many industries. He had not the slightest bit of love or care for other people. At the very least, that is what I believed at the time. Take a look around the room, master. Jakapu had remodeled it into a recreation area. A billiards table sat in the center of the room, and the downward-facing lights hanging from the ceiling were specially made. The light shone upon the dark green stand like a stage, cigars in the bourbon-lined glass cases installed in place of bookshelves. The cases were always fully stocked, and their contents available to partake of readily. This would be a terrible room. I would hate the smoke and everything. At that particular moment, as he had many times before, Jakapu had invited several friends and acquaintances, and they were entertaining themselves. His wealthy, high-ranked acquaintances had a variety of hair colors, from polished brass to the brown of a baby robin and the color of sunburnt wheat. There was also much greater variation in skin tone compared to the visitors and residents of previous eras. But that was hardly any surprise, for the mansion sat upon land inhabited largely by immigrants, the New World. Wait, what? Hang on. I thought this was supposed to be in Italy. Does the mansion, like, physically move through time and place? Because, like, the first two stories were tied together. Like, weren't they? Maybe they weren't. It sure felt like they were, though. But that wasn't the New World. Was it? No, it couldn't have been. What's the matter? What are you looking at? Nothing. I just thought I heard someone say my name. Ain't no one there unless you're seeing a ghost. I don't believe in such nonsense. It's an old home with a lot of history. Wouldn't be surprised if a ghost or two. But if this place is gonna be haunted, I'd take the princess over the bloody broad any day. I'd take a princess over a bloody broad any day. A princess, huh? And when she showed up, you'd have your way with the ghost lady, am I right? Color me impressed, son. You'd jump her bones, and she didn't even say God into to jump. Come on now, it's hardly fair. Not much you can even do with a ghost. My gosh, are you men or children? This is my house. I would rather you didn't talk about it like that. Just blathering a couple of drinks, pretend you don't hear nothing. For the love of... In any event, whatever happened to the printer you invested in? I haven't heard their name come up in some time. Ugh, can we please avoid the topic? It's been quite the headache for me. I thought it'd pay off, but it always sounded sketchy to me. I remember you pull out unless you want to find yourself with nothing left but a nice fat pile of debt. Could have mentioned that beforehand. Ugh, it's killing me. The man's deep voice resonated in the cloudy room. I was kind of pitching it down a bit, but I might pitch it a little lower now. As they imbibed, I don't know. As they partook of alcohol, they puffed on their cigars. They conversed mostly about business and money. Jakapu and the rest of the men were a breed known as investors. You might also call them tacticians. They survived on information attained before anyone else, by making swift decisions and having foresight. Though instead of flesh and bone, their soldiers were made of ink and paper. To an outsider, this meeting might appear to be a congregation of friends, but in reality they were observing one another, gathering information and anything else they could use to get ahead. At times, money and information were exchanged directly, and when they were no longer of financial value to one another, their relationships would pop like a bubble and dissipate into nothing. But you know, Duckapoo, you can't be sure there's a railroad you're so passionate about's gonna bear fruit either. You don't even know if it'll get finished. And even if they do connect the tracks, will it really be in any shape for people to ride? It's a pipe dream, the transcontinental railroad of yours. Duckapoo was silent, but I was certain that this was going through his head. You're a bunch of imbeciles who can't see the entire country putting their weight behind this endeavor. This is what you have so much trouble making even a few thousand. It's true, that was a good investment, honestly. It had to go into a lot of debt to get finished, but once it was finished, it was fantastic. At the time, a great railway was being built across the breadth of the continent. Construction was spearheaded by two large rail companies in competition for both prestige and a bigger share of the massive national enterprise. The Union Pacific Railroad Company started building from the east, and the Central Pacific Railroad Company from the west. But government bonds alone were not enough to finance the massive undertaking. By the way, there have been some less than pleasant reports about the workers dying on the job for the company you chose, Central Pacific. Ah, yes. You mean how they're using explosives to blast through the mountains? Yeah. Central, I think, got the worst, the raw end of the deal, because they had to go through the Rockies. They didn't go very far. As a matter of fact, I think, yeah, they meet up in, like, Utah, which, if you're not from America, I'll explain. So if the United States is this big, if this is the East Coast, and this is the West Coast, then Utah would be here. They effectively would have burrowed through, like, all the mountains, except for, like, the last, like, few, like, I guess the last little bit. And then the Eastern Company came in for most of it. Granted, they probably had a lot easier access to supplies, but making quite a bang they are. Well, it's going to get much bigger to fix. They're not going to be able to continue construction. You should have let them put the money. You should at least put your money in more before you bet. Put in the money more sure bet of the two, the Union Pacific. It'll cost you to hire replacement workers. If they keep kicking the bucket, you're gonna have trouble finding more. My goodness. And here I thought you all had spines. You think we're gonna run out of workers just because a few ate it? Ha! There's so many we don't even know what to do with them all. There's not a chance the well will dry up. Yeah, I think a big part of that is because of the effective slave trade that was going on. I believe that the Central Pacific Company was abusing the rights of Chinese immigrants primarily. Probably included immigrants from other countries from the East as well, but I know there's a lot of troubling things that you learn through history when it comes to the way these companies treated Chinese immigrants who were desperate for work, who would then get pulled into this, and then they would be working in very unsafe conditions. Why some of them would die. Yep, you know, there's like, it's funny because like now if we're in American history, I actually know a decent amount of American history. So you're gonna have the Centrals kind of blasting away through the mountains, questionable tactics. The Union Pacific also kind of questionable, but not nearly as much, and they would meet up in Utah for the final, to get the last bits of the railroad connected. The settlers in Utah, the Latter-day Saint people, they've been driven out of the mainland United States, and they had traveled across the country and settled in Utah, what's now like Salt Lake City. I grew up near there, so it's like I'm very familiar with the area. But they ended up providing lots of workers for the final bit of the project because they wanted to have the railroad having an access line through their capital, Salt Lake City. Turned out to be one of the best economic moves that they made because they became a way stop for shipping pretty much between the coasts, and it really led to a lot of prosperity in that area of the world. Anyway, I'm sure we're going to get a lot more American history now, because, you know, that's what my history books always told me about. And also some of the things that they never talked about too much, but I picked up over time. And if by some chance it does, all we have to do is scoop up a ship full of blacks or yellows. See, there we go. So he's including immigrants from Africa, because by this time, this would be like Civil War has already ended. It should have. Yeah. The Civil War has ended by now, but it's not like that far gone. And but yeah, blacks and yellows, that would be people of African descent and people who are Chinese or possibly just other Asian nations, but I really think it was mostly Chinese. You won't get anywhere if you spend your time worrying about a few measly laborers. This is the endeavor backed by the entire nation. Their deaths are honorable in the service of their country. I'm sure they would agree with that. The biggest loss is not of people's lives, but of time. The longer the project takes, the more money it costs and the less profit we make. What we seek is rapid progress, even if the methods to obtain it are messy or deadly. The other men in the room chuckled uncomfortably at Jacopu's distasteful choice of words. Do you agree with his way of thinking, Master? Perhaps he does have a point in the great sacrifices necessary to accomplish great things. Yeah, but, you know, there's a point when you're, like, willfully overlooking procedures in order to try and speed up processing. Yeah, it's bad. The same thing happened with construction on the Empire State Building, because it was being built up during like the Great Depression, so they had plenty of workers, but they were forcing those workers to like work 14-hour days. And when you were climbing up that high, when they were getting ready to finish the project, people were actually like getting so cold that they couldn't grip things properly, and there were people who would fall and die because their hands were getting too cold. Like, it would have been terrifying. And it is true that tragedy often lies in the shadow of the splendor of times long past. Furthermore, the way people see the world changes with the times, so I hesitate to criticize him too severely. Now, as I am sure you've already picked up on, he was an investor who had put money into a railroad company. He also possessed several crude oil refineries, riding on the world's second wave of the industrial development. The mansion, too, bustled with life, in a way it never had before. Dozens of maids, including me, gardeners, chefs, sculptors, artists. At times we even had writers coming in and out of the house. There was rarely a moment of silence. However, I was not terribly fond of the hustle and bustle personally. But please do not get me wrong, I am hardly opposed to the mansion being cheerful. It was just, how should I put it? The splendor of the time seemed superficial, heartless. It was as though everyone was being rushed along by some unknown invisible force. Part of it was, I expect, caused by the growing divide between those standing at the top and sitting at the bottom. Or perhaps, the mansion was simply taking after its master. There's no time to waste. Everything is resting upon the success of this project. Whatever it takes, I will ensure it happens. I need more money and more power. Suddenly, a restrained knock on the door stopped his train of thought. From beyond the door came a woman's voice, gentle as a soft spring breeze. Is this going to be our white-haired girl? Pardon me, I have made some tea. May I offer anyone a cup? Oh, fetch it is! Oh my gosh, wow, she looks great. Very pretty, and she's always very pretty. When the door opened, in it stood a beautiful woman with pure white hair. It was indeed her. Are you surprised? Or did you anticipate her appearance? Anticipated. Though she was not the same age and dressed differently, the white-haired girl whom you saw fall at the hands of misfortune in the era of roses and the era of the beast was also present in the era of innovation. Furthermore, she was Jacopi's wife. Wow, lucky guy. I have a feeling something horrible is going to happen to him because, you know, it's the game. It's Fata. It's the house of Fata Morgana. It's her house. I'll fetch. Yeah, I just realized that. I'm stupid. Morgana makes sense. It makes sense that her name's that. Tea? I don't recall asking for that. Why were you asked to make it? I wasn't. But I had these leaves in the most wonderful aroma, and I thought you might enjoy. Shut your trap and know your place. What do you think we're having all these maids for? Oh, Crap. I kind of gave him my natural voice. Now I hate it because I feel like I'm yelling at her. Hey now. No need to treat your lady like that. She was just trying to be courteous. These are my personal affairs. Please keep your comments to yourself. His friends were unsure how to react, but ultimately, nobody stepped up to stop Jacopu. I keep saying Jacopi, I don't know why. Jacopu. They merely shrugged, tossing glances at one another. Jacopu stomped over to the white-haired girl. He then grabbed her by the arm and dragged her from the den. Oh, great. What the heck do you think you're doing? I've told you time and again to stay away from the room unless absolutely necessary. I'm sorry, but, I made tea and... Shut up about the tea already. You think we're having tea parties in there like a bunch of prissy nobles? I'm sorry. If you really felt so bad, don't go in there in the first place. Get the heck back to your room. I meant no harm. It's just, I'm your wife. I thought it would be nice if I could do something. Like I told you, it's not your job. Don't show yourself in front of the other men. I have nothing else to say to you. Seriously, dude. Got it? Now scram. Sakes alive. First them, now you. It's driving me off the wall. What is it? I told you to get out of here. Right, but, What? When will you spend time with me next? It has been some time since we last went out together. But we don't even have to go out. We just have dinner together. How many times are you gonna make me repeat myself? You worthless tramp. Are those ears only for show? I want to punch myself in the face because I'm saying these things. Go back to your room. My apologies. Looking utterly downtrodden, the white-haired girl made her departure. Such a pitying sight she was. As she watched her go, Jacopu merely snorted. Just thinking about the way he behaved that angers me. I have little fondness for men who do not treat their spouses with respect. So as you can see, the white-haired girl was hardly a joyous situation. She was devoted to Jacopu, who tried to do whatever she could for him, but he could not only brush her aside, he did so in an insulting, deliberately hurtful manner. They were far from picturesque partners. Do you wonder then, master, why she married him? The answer to that question will come to light in time. For now, let us follow her. Interesting. Alright, so we're gonna focus on her next time. This is a fantastic place to stop, I think. Fetch, man! I like how Jacopu, he has a terrible name, and so I'm happy because his name is stupid, and he's stupid, and should be mocked as often as possible, which is just fantastic. So I'm sure we're gonna see a lot of him. I'm already rooting for the house. Come on, mansion, ruin his life. Just try and not ruin hers in the process if possible. But hey. Well, that was an interesting episode. Very much mix of flavors. I hope I made a good choice back with the mirror. Learned something interesting. Totally did the wrong voice, but whatever. Otherwise, things are looking pretty good. I'm liking the music of this part, I gotta say. Already, I'm a huge fan of it, so I'm looking forward to playing this in the future some more. But yeah, so I guess now that we've wrapped up the beast, what do you think about that? Do you have any last second thoughts about it? How it ended? Did you see it, the end coming? Did you have similar thoughts to me, or did you have to see something a little different? I love to hear like your experiences, like what made them different. If this is your first time playing through, I guess, or even not, like, did you touch the mirror the first time like I did, or did you avoid it? So I'm really interested to see. I might have to go back and just see what happens if you don't, but I might hold off on that for a little while just to see where I end up with my natural progression. But, well, I guess we'll just have to see. So thank you so much for... Oh, excuse me. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me. And thanks for just being a part of the channel. I love hearing your comments. I love seeing that you guys are enjoying what I'm playing. There's many more things to come. Keep an eye on the Discord channel if you want to make recommendations, or you just want to like see some chats with various people or mention things. There's places in there you can talk about spoilers where I won't see them, but you can like discuss between other people. And then of course, if for some reason you haven't been seeing, I have a series on Wednesdays and Fridays. Science Gate Zero is currently going on, which great first game if you haven't tried it before. And then I'm also playing Karawa Sojo which is a kind of more of the dating simi one, which is always really fun too. So anyway, ramble on about other stuff. I don't know why. I just feel like it's a good episode to put it in for. So thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you so much for being here. And until the next video, watch with me. Hope to see me next. I'll see you there.
Depois de